kick it off with a few medical updates. First of which is Corey's doing great, progressing nicely. He's been swinging the cages and trending towards live BPs sometime this coming week, and we'll evaluate and see where he is in terms of game status shortly thereafter. But he's doing wonderfully, and we're very pleased with his recovery. Same with Josh Young. Josh, expectation is you'll see in games very soon here, passing all the tests and feeling really good. Nate Lowe is still going to be a little while. I think we're looking at mid-April at the earliest on him. Obviously, no baseball activity right now, but he has a ways to go, and once he does get started, we're going to have to build him back up with traditional, spring training, making sure he gets a lot of at-bats and passes the tests. As you've seen, Max is back in camp. He's feeling great. He's starting his normal build-up for the season. So I think we're, looking at sometime end of May, beginning of June for him, if things go according to plan. But there's a long way to go there. But we are going to start his ramping up his baseball activity and conditioning for the season. And then on the more long-term, Jacob and Tyler Malley both continue to make great progress and are passing all the tests on their respective throwing programs and remain on schedule in terms of the timelines we've given at this point, knowing that those could change at any point. So with that, I think all in all at this point in camp, we're in a pretty good spot and hopeful to get through these last 10 days as we work towards opening day. So all things considered, it's been a really positive camp. The energy in the camp's been awesome. Just health-wise, we had a few injuries here with the position players, but I think we've made it through that, and it's been a great opportunity for some of the other guys that are going to play vital roles for us this season to step up and get meaningful at bats, and we've seen what they can do. It's been exciting. We've got some great competition left in camp, both in the bullpen and for the last few bench spots, and so should be a fun week here as we wrap up camp.
Do you feel like time-wise, like your decision-making processes are on a good timeline as far as what you've needed to see and with what you've got left as far as?
Yeah, I think that as Boach said at the beginning of camp, and I agree. We're going to have some tough decisions at the end of camp, and I think they'll come down to the wire here.
On Seager and Young, Boach said yesterday that he was trending more optimistically that they'd both be ready. Sounds like that jive was kind of where you're at.
Yeah, I think Josh for certain. I don't want to jump ahead yet to Corey, but I think Josh for certain. I think he's just ahead of where Corey is right now, and he's been able to do more baseball activity. But still cautiously optimistic for Corey. But if it's not opening day, it'll be shortly thereafter.
I've asked Boach this a number of ways, and I also realize you guys aren't going to be pushed into telling us anything until you're ready to
when you preface a question by saying you've asked in a number of ways, it means you haven't gotten the answer you wanted, so you're going to continue to push. So I'm guessing you're not going to get it from me either,
Probably
but
not,
you can ask.
But I think it's worthwhile. What's your stance on Wyatt Langford at this point?
Wyatt's had a great camp. He's had a great camp. He's put himself in a great position. We're going to continue to evaluate, see what our team needs are as we get into the first couple series of the season, see how the position player roster shapes up, where Corey is, where Josh is. But Wyatt has done everything he possibly can. He's lived up to the expectations he created last year when he signed, and it's been so fun watching him. I was shocked to hear that was his first grand slam he's ever hit, according to his dad. So it was an impressive hit, and but nonetheless, he's had a great camp.
How are you guys feeling about options at first base behind Nate right now? Seeing as be a little delayed behind the injury.
Yeah, I think very good. I think we have a number of good options, both internally and external in our eyes. So feeling very good about the options there. We're fortunate to have such a high quality of, we'll call it depth in camp right now, so that if we lose an 8, we've got other options that I think we can fill in, whether it's full-time or platoon options that will, I think, complement our lineup.
Do you feel comfortable with the idea of, if Seager's ready, of Duran playing some at first base as part of a platoon?
Yeah, that coming into spring training, that was one of the goals, is that we were going to get Zeke some first base work. We did that on the backfields early. Hasn't seen much game action there, but he has been getting work over there with the idea that, even before Corey's injury, I think that was an avenue for Zeke to see more playing time. If there's a tough lefty that maybe we didn't want Nate to face, Zeke could be an option at first base. So I feel very good about where he is. Zeke's a very good defender, and if he ends up over there at first base I think we're very comfortable with that.
And that, even though you won't get him a lot of time in games in that situation, you're okay?
Yeah, I think this week you'll see him. My guess is you'll see him a couple days over at first base. But yeah, we're comfortable.
Is Evan Carter the outfielder you feel most comfortable with floating at all three outfield positions?
Yeah, I think that, as we look at the outfield, Leote has established himself in center field. Jankowski would be the other one that we feel comfortable in all three outfield positions, but Adolis in right field, obviously had a great year there last year. And then Evan, primarily in left, but being able to bounce over to right and play center as well. I think if Wyatt were to be on the team, we see him mainly in left field. Wouldn't want to move him around much. Evan has a great aptitude and the ability to adjust, and along with Travis as well. I think it's two good options to play all three outfield positions.
Has there been more of an emphasis is it always a point of emphasis to be so versatile with, like that versatility, not only in the outfield, but in the infield? Has there been more of an emphasis on it?
Well, I think just given our roster construct, and we have some guys that have locked down positions, I think it's really important for our bench players to have versatility so that they can bounce around, and we can find ways, especially if the designated hitter spot is open and we don't have a permanent DH, we can bounce these guys around and give guys off days, give Corey off days and play Zeke or Josh Smith at short, or give Nate an off day and play one of them at first base, or Josh Young at third, and they can both play the outfield as well. And I think that's I personally prefer that. It's I don't know if I'll say it's my philosophy, but I do like having versatility on the bench and guys that can play a number of positions, and you can find different ways to, one, rest your regulars and get these guys in the lineup pretty consistently.
Have you guys had any conversations about how a preponderance of at-bats as a DH might impact Wyatt potentially negatively?
Well, I guess that depends on what you mean by a preponderance of at-bats. Are you talking about 600 at-bats in the DH spot? Because I think that we don't foresee that happening. We see him playing, if he's on the team or whenever he's called up, I think we see him in the outfield pretty consistently as well.
No, when I say preponderance, I'm just talking about, perhaps a majority of his play.
Yeah, to be determined. I think he can hit and he'll be able to handle it.
Okay.
Yeah.
To that end, though, I feel, first day in camp for me, but I feel like early on you guys had discussed with Wyatt, if he were to make the team and all, that there is a commitment to him playing in the outfield. In other words, it's important to you guys that he plays in the outfield and not just DHs.
Oh, we definitely don't look at Wyatt as a full-time DH. You'll see him in the outfield. Like, unequivocally, you will see him playing the outfield. Yeah.
And at first base, Walsh has had a nice camp. He would be a consideration there. Foscue, is he?
Yeah, Justin's put himself in a great spot. He's had a very good camp. He's looked good at first base. We've gotten him a lot of time over there. Blaine Krim's had a great camp as well. He's done very well. And then Zeke, and then obviously you mentioned Jared Walsh. So I think that we feel very good. And then, there's always Sam Huff, who's been optioned out. We optioned him out to get him built up at catcher and get him the ABs. But he's an on-roster option as well. If something were to happen or something that we didn't foresee, we could always pivot and recall Sam. But I think we have very good internal options and ways to kind of mix and match here. And another one, Matt Duffy. Matt Duffy's in camp, an external NRI, and has played very well, has experience at all four infield spots, and quality at bats. So there's a number of good options here. we're going to have tough decisions to make.
See, what it feels like in 28 camps that I've been to with the Rangers, if a pitcher had pitched the way Cody Bradford has pitched this spring, auditioning for a spot in the rotation, publicly people would be skipping and screaming from the top of their lungs about what a great performance it's been. And everybody's been very complimentary. Are you content to move forward with Bradford in the rotation? Have you made that determination yet?
Cody's pitched his way. Cody's in the rotation. I mean, we've had him on schedule. He's in the rotation. He's done great. He's one of our starting pitchers.
Okay, so I mean, you're committed to that going in.
I think I just answered your question.
In terms of the bullpen, Boch talked about not necessarily defined roles, but that would kind of evolve as the season went on. But how, the message is like getting important outs, whether that's in the 6th and the 7th and the 8th or whatever. How much more, I guess, credence does that have when it's Bruce Bochy delivering that message of it may be in the 6th, but these are important outs?
Yeah, I think it's one. I think Boch having those conversations and explaining to the players, it's very impactful. I think it's a significant part of the collective buy-in. I think we saw that last year, independent of whether it was the bullpen or guys in certain roles all season long, that Boch brings a credibility and a believability and a respect that players know that he's got their best interests at heart. I think the other aspect of this is that having, your question earlier on versatility, I think that applies to the bullpen as well, and having maybe not specific designated roles, but having multiple guys that can do different things. It's our jobs collectively to put these guys in the best positions to succeed by looking at matchups and knowing that in certain pockets of the lineup, certain guys may be better, and going into each game having that mapped out so that we can really set these guys up for success. And I think that the last part of this is the collective mentality of the group and the willingness to sacrifice for the good of the team, knowing that they will do the role that's asked of them because it's in the best interests of the group. And I think that speaks to the character of the guys. So I think all those things combined, you get the collective buy-in, and again, it's our jobs to try to set them up for success by putting them in the right positions.